Today's show is sponsored by SCHIIT Audio. SCHIIT Audio designs and builds audio components made in the USA. Based in Valencia, California, their wide line of amps, DACs, and audio accessories fit any budget, starting at $49. For a full rundown of all their products, visit SCHIITdotCOM or stop by their retail store in Old Newhall, just north of Los Angeles. That's SCHIIT.com. Thanks for tuning in to the very last episode of the Occasional Podcast of 2019. Today we have an interview with Zach and Bevin Mehrbach of ZMF Headphones. Also, Bryan and Brian's favorite things for 2019. And also a little clip. Two people arguing in a YouTube comment section that I found on a very popular audiophile video reviewers channel, and I thought it would be pretty funny to give it to you in our kind of revised format. So if you haven't heard one before, we have another tongue-in-cheek kind of fun thing in this episode. Also, I want to remind everybody, if you get a chance, the Occasional magazine is available download. They have their year-end roundup. We have a small list of items here for you. The Occasional magazine has everything from 2019 blown out. All kinds of fun stuff to check out for your audiophile pleasure. That is available to download on parttimeaudiophile.com. Just go up to the navigation bar, and it's right there in the sub-menus, and you can download it. It's a downloadable PDF. And, of course, you can stay up to date with all the latest news, reviews, vinyl, anarchist articles, right straight on parttimeaudiophile.com. Updated daily, tons of information. So we have it all. It's all rocking and rolling. And stay tuned. Perhaps one of our biggest interviews ever coming up. So January and February. Look forward to that stuff. But thanks again to everybody who tuned in 2019. Looking forward to a great 2020. What up? That's the holidays.
Jingle bells, jingle, ching, ching, ching.
And it is also Season 3, Episode 8.
Christmas special.
Yeah.
It's like the Star Wars Christmas special. This will be buried and never found again.
And then it'll come out as a gem like 50 years later, and
That's
everybody will swarm over it, and they'll realize...
it was still pretty bad. No, it's still pretty horrible.
Today on the show, we have a very, very special duo from ZMF Headphones, Zach and Bevin Mehrbach. They make headphones. They're like an up-and-coming, awesome little team that, honestly, they made headphones out of their house. That's how they rolled for a really long time. They finally moving on to bigger, better things. They have a warehouse, and, they make good stuff. He makes high-end, these kind of bespoke wood headphones. So we have an interview with both those lovely folks a little bit later. But first, we have very special favorite things. Bees and Brian's favorite things. Yeah. Like Oprah's, right? That's Oprah had her favorite things, but this is our favorite things for the year.
2019 in review.
Yeah. And there's a lot of good stuff. Wouldn't you say, Bees? How was 2019 for you?
It was very enjoyable for me. Everything from Lizzo to Baby Yoda. Loved it all the way down.
I want to kick things off with one of the things that we talked about in the last episode at the $500 price point. So we're like, we'll start low and get more expensive. But
I like it.
LCD1. Bees got a chance to hear it. What did you think?
I thought they were fantastic. We talked about it, I think, on an earlier podcast, right?
Yep.
Really enjoyed them. The proper weight, the proper packaging to take on an airplane with you. And they look really nice. Like they just have like that kind of really cool black matte futuristic look to them. And they're really comfy on the old ears.
And so,
good fit.
One of the standout things for me on these guys in terms of the sound is the vocal clarity. So detailed, right? And also a linear sense of bass. So it's not inflated. It's an open back. So that's the dynamic, right? Portability is there. It doesn't really make sense on a plane, but if you're sitting in a room like I do monitoring these podcasts, EQing these podcasts, the linear bass, the good frequency response, and the vocal clarity makes these guys stand out for this year. So I'm throwing those guys out there.
I'm a big fan. Big fan.
And then also on the in-ears front, The UE Live, I've been a huge fan of these guys. They're at the top end of the IEM market. They're quite expensive, but again, mid-tone texture is exceptional. It reminds me of the Campfire Andromedas, where a lot of it can be really thin, right? A lot of the IEMs can be really thin. Bring in the texture. They bring in the goodness, the juicy, fun listen, even though they're expensive. The UE Live in-ears from Ultimate Ears.
Perfect stocking stuffers.
Yeah,
for your audiophile.
Yeah, if you can fit them in there, they're
Go ask
they're a
Santa.
couple $1,000s, but Santa's
Exactly.
pockets run deep sometimes.
I mean, those elves are turning those things out as we speak.
Tiny hands, and then I think this is a dual kind of thing. So in another awesome advancement we had this year, I think, was in the streaming category. It was a landmark year for audiophiles in terms.
I would agree. Across the board, right? More popular and less popular.
HD streaming, high definition streaming. In regardless where you sit on the high definition, it's better to have the option if you want it,
I
right?
would think so.
And even if we just, you can argue, oh, well, if there's not much above CD quality, fine. At least we're getting CD quality now, right? So CD quality options, running amok, a bunch of options, Tidal, Qobuz, and now even Amazon.
Amazon's in the game,
Yeah. I want to give props out to Qobuz because they have a wider selection of DACs than some of the other streaming services. So they work on any DAC. They have a pretty cool interface. They have pretty great playlists.
Yeah, the interface is really good.
Yeah, it works. It works.
Oh, yeah, that's a big thing. It works.
Because let's be honest, sometimes the digital things, they don't always work, and it's a bummer. But I think Qobuz for me is one of the big winners this year, and I've enjoyed using it on many fronts.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it's usually what we use when we do a deep dive into these headphones. That's usually what we're playing through there.
Yeah, and there being actually we have the DCS bar talk in here. I'm going to give an honorable mention to the DCS bar.
Yeah,
it's a beast.
It is a beast. It's beautiful though.
It's gorgeous. And it also works.
Yeah, and its simplicity. It doesn't have
so simple.
Yeah, sometimes that's all you need. But going back to the Amazon thing, so I guess they have a whole bunch of different plans. But what used to be is that they had a premium just on pure streaming music of any, like if you play the Beatles, it wouldn't do it. But now you get that for free with your Amazon Prime. So now you get all the music for free. It's not in HD, but you can upgrade. And I guess they have different plans starting at $13 if you're a Prime member, $15 if you're not, and then there's like the $20 family pack, which I guess basically just means it'll play on all your devices at the same time. So for my kids, it's super exciting because Frozen 2 is now on constant replay. Thank you, Alexa. Thank you.
So basically, the convenience of Amazon, I cannot stress enough, cannot be undone.
I mean, my children, we've talked about this many times on the podcast, that they literally walk into a room, they say Alexa, and then whatever they say after it just materializes. It's freaking Star Trek. Like, it is like, make me a ham sandwich. Here is the entire Frozen 2 soundtrack that you just heard. And my daughter, I'm like, how do you know all the words already? She's like, from the movie theater. I was like, I'm very impressed.
Meanwhile, Bees is laboring over his reel-to-reel in the corner for an hour and a half.
No, it's shredded again. Come on, stop breaking the tape. I want to listen to some old Chicago. Yes, it's been a great year. Even from the movies that we've talked about on here, from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood to The Irishman that I drug you to actually watch it in a movie theater, and then I told him that it was coming out on Netflix a week later. He's like, "What?" I just wanted to sit down and watch it all in one sitting. But yeah, it's been a fun 2019. What else?
So moving on up to
Baby Yoda. What else?
Besides Baby Yoda, we had a chance to listen to the Micro Evolution one by TAD. This is a bookshelf speaker. It was on sale for like $8K or $7K around there, but normally it's above $10K. But in a bookshelf size, it's a stand mount really. It has amazing bass, amazing clarity. I love this thing. I got to spend some time with it this year, and it was a precious moment. So I like that one. So I'm going to throw that out there as a nomination. Also, I heard this at many shows. I'm a big fan. This is Sonus Faber Olympica Nova series. It's their middle, right? And it's also their best seller, probably for a reason. Now, my favorite will always be their flagship Adia. Ooh! It gives me the chills because it is absolutely phenomenal, but it's super duper. It's like over $100,000. So, in lieu of that, you get a little bit of trickle down, you get a little bit of the love. In the Sonus Faber Olympica Nova series, they got all the sizes. Mine, I think I'm looking at the 4, the 5, where they have, the mid and the tweeter, and then like 2 to 3 of the base floor standers. But they make a bookshelf, they make all that stuff. So that was a really big standout thing for me because they look gorgeous and they sound. I think in my mind, at least, they sound a little bit more on the organic side, on a little more on the lived-in side than a straight analytical thrust. That's kind of where I land with things.
How they thrust. Where they're on the thrust meter.
The thrust is very important, Fees.
I get it.
And if you're looking for a pair of socks, Chup socks, love them. I love them. CHUP, Chup socks. They're made out of Japan. They're wonderful weave. They come in fun colors.
Are they dress socks? What are they?
They are boot socks.
Like if I wanted to, do they make like a special Jon Snow version? Since we said goodbye to Game of Thrones this year?
I know, it was sad, wasn't it?
Was it?
Where do you sit on the finale, Bees?
I've come back
Love
around
or
to
hate?
it. I didn't uber hate it. I definitely just didn't love it. But now I've come back. I've actually rewatched the last season like last month, and I'm okay with it all now. It just was so in the moment. It wasn't fantastic, but
I think it was the one before that shocked me. But the way it wrapped up, I wasn't like.
Yeah,
I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
So before we go into the interview, I wanted to drop a little more of our hard edge cutting research we've done.
We've scoured the internet looking for audiophile arguments.
And part of our audiophile argument series, we have another little treat for you.
YouTube, right?
Yeah. This one is from YouTube. So this is 2 grown men arguing in a YouTube comment section.
This guy gives me acid reflux.
You do the same to us, Derek.
Good.
So,
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Happy Hanukkah.
And
Kwanzaa. Festivus for the rest of us.
And as we say here on the Occasional Podcast, on with the show. Here we go.
For the last time in 2019. Punch it!
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. A very special pair of guests, the cutest couple that I ever did see, Zach Mehrbach and Bevin Mehrbach. Thanks so much for joining me. How you guys doing today?
Hey, Brian. Thanks for having us.
Doing good. Thanks, Brian.
Oh, my goodness. We were just joking before we kind of started, so I love how serious the tone became as soon as the record button is, and it's like, serious time. ZMF Headphones is the company. Wonderful wood-based, different cups for the headphones, and it's kind of been a nice upward trajectory for you guys in the past couple of years. When did you first kind of start this company? What year was it?
Yeah, I mean, I started modding Fostexes in 2010, and then it was just kind of slow progression to proprietary stuff and full time since 2014. So, technically, I mean, we've been doing it for 9 years now, but, the proprietary stuff's what most people know us for. So that's the last, 5 years or so.
So it's been 5 years, but you guys have kind of a really interesting story in terms of the development, because you guys did start kind of as a garage-oriented enterprise, no?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I was finishing grad school and was like, I need a little, extra money to make ends meet, and did the Fostex T50RP thing just out of a 1,500 square foot apartment in Chicago, and then bought a house to expand the business with the proprietary stuff, and that's where we're at now, and we're just about to move into our first commercial space the next few months that we're renovating now. Bevin's actually been the one who's kind of headed that project because I kind of keep my head in the headphone production. But, Bevin for the last, I don't know, it's took us, 16 months to find a space.
It's been a long time, yeah.
So what was that process first, like moving from modding and then bringing Bevin on, and how did that kind of come about?
Well, at first it was convincing Bevin that, our kitchen table was somewhere I should be allowed to have a soldering iron to, I'll still remember a moment when I was at the kitchen table just learning how to make a headphone cable, and Bevin was like, I think she just said, is this going to be a thing or is this a phase kind of thing? I don't know if that's the wording she said, but that was what I got from it. And I was like, it's a phase. Don't worry. It's just a phase. I'll grow out of it.
Yeah, no, if I said I was supportive from the very beginning, like all in as I am now, that would be a total lie. I used to be like, get your stuff off the table, like do your modding, do what you want, but like clean it off so we can have dinner there.
And we were both finishing grad school. I was finishing getting my master's degree in film directing, and Bev was finishing getting her master's degree in social work and child development. And so, of course, then she launched into that career and was doing it up until 2018. So, she's been part of ZMF officially now as a, employee like I am, for the last year and a half. The acceptance grew over time.
Yeah. So, Bevin, what was that transition like for you, going from social work to doing this kind of more entrepreneurship direction?
Yeah, well, I think it started when I actually understood the appeal of audio. Like, at first, I was just listening to earbuds that were uncomfortable, and they just produced music, and that was okay to me. And then I was listening to headphones that were good, and I got it, and started to become, I'd get home from work and check in with Zach and be like, what happened today at ZMF? I felt like I was away, and I was, like, missing something that was really important to me. So, it was hard to sort of, in a way, be working two jobs, like go out, do what I did, come home, check in with ZMF. And when there was, a point when things in my outside job had changed, ZMF needed help, it was just sort of a natural fit for me to jump on in.
And it's been a slow progression. I mean, from 2011 to 14, when it was just the Fostex T50 mod stuff, we weren't selling a lot of headphones. I was adjunct faculty teaching, 2-3 classes a week. Slowly grew to where I was like, man, I don't have a moment to think anymore because I have to teach and have to do this. And that was when we made the decision to really launch into the proprietary stuff. And it's all been, it's felt like a gradual build for, I think, both of us. It wasn't like one day I was just like, Bevin, you're gonna have to step it up now, girl. There was no moment where I was like, you didn't
jump out of your bed one morning in your boxers and just go, we are ZMF now. And she's like sleeping on the bed, and you're just like, what?
Like, I brought you breakfast and 100 feet of Litz wire.
Yeah, he tossed a big spear up into the air. There were flames.
He shot his pistola up. Like, yay, we are ZMF.
That all happened. No, it was a lot of time of just Zach being like, some guy's gonna stop by the apartment later on, and me being like, hey, can you like pick up, some things off the floor, and sure, what time is this person coming by? What's happening? It was very casual. Our whole growth has been so super grassroots through all those years.
But he stopped by the apartment and tried what I think one of the T50, like the ZMF Classic, or I think it was called the ZMF V1 or V2 at that point, where we just had modified plastic ZMF cups, and so it's just interesting. A lot of the people who also knew who we were back then, who somehow found us through Headfire somewhere. Who now I know, and we've kind of seen where they've gone into the industry, because same thing. We've all been enthusiasts and kind of grown into different things.
Grew up together.
Yeah.
Well, it is. It's cool to see people from when you can say, "Oh my gosh, I remember way back when I was in your tiny apartment at your little table, and there was foam all over the place. And now I see you doing this, and that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a short period where we started doing the wood cups in the apartment, and before we moved to our current location, or the T50 mod wood cups. And I was still learning about. My dad's a chemist, and I was like, our whole apartment has smelled really weird lately. And then I realized my dad was like, "Yeah, use the water-based stuff." And we used the water-based stuff ever since then.
I was just wondering. I'm like, isn't the sawdust just like all over?
I
at
know
this point?
we thought that our landlord was gonna like.
I was like, we will never get our security deposit back. Do you realize that? You can kiss that goodbye.
And I was like hiring like grad school buddies to come over, and I was like, I'll pay you to sand hand, because it was all hand. We have big machine random orbital sanders now that are bigger, but we'd have like grad school, there'd be like 3 of us in a room with hand sanders, and I mean it was definitely interesting.
And when we were doing the T50 cups, like you can't buy spray paint within the city limits of Chicago because they want to deter vandalism. So we'd be like, all right, we got to take a trip over the border, get that spray paint, get those cups done. It was like, I don't know, it was crazy. It was funny.
Did you guys have fun with it, or was it stressful?
I think
There's laughs.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fun to look back on it. I think making headphones has always been fun for me. But I know, Bevin having a whole nother life and having to deal with me creating this business from an apartment to a commercial space and going through all that probably hasn't always been, what I would define as fun. And I mean,
But it'll make the next remodel so easy when the kitchen's like all in a disaster for a month. You're like, this is nothing. This is nothing.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. It definitely gives you a different perspective on that stuff.
So what was it like kind of onboarding your first employee? So you said initially you just kind of recruited friends. At what point did you realize I need like a companion to help get the jobs done that need to get done?
Yeah, I mean, you get to a point where you're not sleeping enough and you're stressed and you have, an X amount of orders and people are getting mad at you for not delivering quickly. And, our first person is actually, I didn't have the money at the time because ZMF lost money until like 2017 or something, or 2016.
Wait, you kept doing this endeavor even though you were losing money?
Technically.
I was the breadwinner.
Yeah, because we both had jobs. I was basically using my job as a teacher. I think it was through 2015 I taught to say, oh, yeah, the business is going to make it someday. And so our first employee was in like 2016 when it started getting bigger. 2015, we had this intern, and we got him from Purdue, and was he free or did we pay him $10 an hour or something?
I think we paid him $10. Like
yeah.
We probably shouldn't put that on the podcast, but he was a paid intern.
He was a paid intern, but he was an acoustical engineer student at
That's
Purdue.
relevant experience. I'm sorry, that's relevant. I wasn't sure where you're going, but if he's an acoustic engineer,
yeah,
because I have bad experiences with free internships in college. I'm a little bitter. But if he's an acoustic engineer, what better way to kind of get some cool experience?
And that's a crazy thing at Purdue. Apparently, when he was there was only 13 acoustic engineer students. It's just and there's 3,000 mechanical engineering students, and I still thank him for because he didn't interview in person or anything. But we had a phone call, and we were both like, let's do it. And now he works at. We're not going to say his name, but he's at Shore now.
That's awesome.
If
you guys don't know, Shore is a pretty massive company in Chicago, and their building's super sexy. That's great. That's so cool. That's a success. And his name, but just give his social security
You're
number.
You're going to dox him? No. One of the cool things that he said to us was like, oh yeah, they like that experience at ZMF being on my resume was helpful to getting this job. I was like, they knew us? What?
They did?
Yeah, apparently, like we're big enough for them to care about.
Well, by the time he was
me.
interviewing in 2018, or when he was a freshman in 2015, then he graduated this last year. So by the time he graduated, ZMF was a real thing.
Yeah. Was there a moment where you kind of had a realization this thing's a real thing? Like, does it feel like it's real yet, or is it like, oh no, this train's moving from the station and you can't stop us now?
I mean, now, as of 2019
because you're on this
September,
podcast.
I know
We've made it.
it's a real deal. But I mean, the first few years, my mom would call me and she'd be like, "Are you still gonna look for a real job?" and I'd be like, "But Mom, people really like these headphones. Come on, girl."
Did you see the video, Mom? Did you show her the video? Did you show her?
She watches all the videos. Yeah,
but did you see the Sesame Street video?
Oh, I did. I showed. Yeah, I've
this
showed
is
everyone.
the level of love that people have for me.
Well, we loved the Burt reviews thing. We still have no idea who did it, but it's my favorite. And there's a rap song at the end.
Oh, I sing it to him sometimes when he's getting too.
It's my second favorite thing to Audiohead.
They have. I find it funny because I try to explain what I do, and people still don't understand. They're like, "What?" But yeah, I'm like, just think about podcasting now. It's simpler. It's simpler. But I think that audio is. What we do here is so niche that even if you say, "Oh, it's audio," you still have to explain it. And high fidelity in general is kind of a hard concept to grasp. You're like, "Oh, everybody knows they like better sound," but they don't generally think. It's like when you watch a movie, it looks good, but you don't know, like, "Oh man, the key light's here and this and that." They just take it for granted that it sounds or looks better. And explaining that, I think, is kind of one of the hurdles of the hobby. If everybody just knew what high fidelity was, I think we could all rock and roll a little bit quicker.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bevin can relate to this. Every single delivery man, FedEx, UPS that we've had, they'll, after X amount of deliveries of inventory and stuff we need to make the headphones, they'll be like, "You're making headphones here?" and they're like, they just don't get it because they, headphones to most people are a travel item, noise canceling, and I usually invite them in to come check out this big wood thing you put on your head and sounds good.
You invite the delivery guys into your house?
We're so close with our delivery people.
We
they keep you
every day.
going, you got to take care of the people that help you out. So they're awesome.
Is it like a delivery a day?
Oh,
or multiple deliveries?
At least, yeah. Because you're always, because we have so many ear pads and there's so many parts that go into the headphones, and then they do the pickups. We sell a bunch of ear pads and just,
or like when we ship out to a show from our home, they're lifting like 75-pound cases off our porch. Shout out to Alex, you're the best.
The porch is like a truck docking station at a warehouse for you. It backs up and you guys just drop it in. Is there a docking station on the new place?
There's a garage door.
That's a driving door.
I think we're gonna switch delivery people though, which is really sad.
Alex, heart you.
For realsies.
What of all the things that you do would you say is your most fun thing to do of your responsibilities, and then your least? You can start.
I love emailing with people. Like sometimes I'll get into email chains where we're like way off the topic of headphones. Someone will say like, "Oh, I'm so sorry for my English." And I'm like, "Wait, where are you from?" "Oh, that's so cool." And Zach will come in and be like, "Why do you have like a 50 email chain with this person? What are you doing in here?" But I just really like meeting people. You meet people from all over the world. All of like the ZMF owners that I've come in contact with are just really interesting and cool. So I appreciate that part of the job. I do a lot of the data input. So anytime you see a mistake on our public spreadsheet, that's me. I really, really dislike just entering data into Excel. But you need organization, and that's what gives it to you.
I like showing people our headphones, our new, especially new stuff like we're coming out with the Verite Close now. Just after working on it for a year or whatever, to have someone listen to something that you've been keeping private, and not talking about is always just fun for me. And the part, the business part, the logistics and the financial part, I like building the headphones, but crunching the numbers and making sure that everything makes sense for the business and making sure all the financial stuff and the tax stuff and paying the government.
I love the government, but I don't really love taxes.
Yeah.
No, it's just all so much so much like peripheral administrative work that is time consuming and sort of life sucking and not exactly fun.
I'm with you on that. And taxes would be my number one, but the data entry, I mean, I don't know if you've ever sat down. I've worked in an office, and when I graduated from college, the job that I had required data entry projects that weren't like a couple hours. They weren't like a couple days.
Yeah.
I've worked on a project that took 4 people 3 months, and I'm talking about Excel data entry for 3 months for a team of 4. And when you do that for that long, I feel like I start to feel a little weird. Like the example I always give is I would do that for like from when I got in the morning to noon, and when I left my desk for lunch, I would see someone come in from my peripheral vision, and they would look like little boxes from Excel. Like in my mind, that was like the way I was translating it. Like if you play a lot of Tetris, you look at shapes and you go, "This is how I put the little boxes in."
It sounds like some kind of trauma to me. Like that's just.
Is that too weird?
No, that's rough, and it's true. I mean, when something's not your favorite like that, and you're doing it a lot. But luckily, that's not a huge part of my job. I also get to pack all the accessories. I like that, wrapping them up, making them look cute, throwing some stickers in there.
Yes, make the ear pads look cute.
They do, though.
For all the burly men that buy our products.
Have you guys had someone, this is a very common thing people say, have you had someone complain about either packaging or like a very tiny scratch or something that no one would notice, but they're like, I bought this pair of headphones and there's this tiny, tiny imperfection and I wanted perfection.
I think that's one of the tough things about making wood headphones is that have this PDF that we didn't write, but one of these wood companies wrote that explains every type of mark that can be in wood that's natural. Most people understand they're getting a handmade product that is made out of wood, made with care and love, but uses a natural product. But every once in a while, expectations of getting a headphone that either has a polyurethane type plastic finish over it or are used to injection molded parts all the time. Because all of our parts nothing's injection molded. It's just wood, leather, and metal, all vegetarian tan leather that's thicker. And I mean, sometimes Bevin will send ear pads out, and because we use the veg tan leather, it's got a little more grain to it. So instead of being chrome tanned where there's chemicals making it black, it's tanned in a bunch of vegetable pulp, and it has more grain on it. People be like, this left ear pad doesn't look exactly like the right or something.
I mean, it's crazy how much variability there is in leather surfaces. So taking a good amount of time to try and match the grain so that somebody gets a nice set.
Oh, man.
And Bevin has had much higher standards in the last year and a half for the ear pads. She's got a whole case of pads she won't send out because there's like, well, this one looks too farty or whatever. Yeah.
Well, I was thinking about this because I'm on I have a Facebook group that is about shoes. Ooh. I know that sounds weird, but the thing these guys do is I got this brand new shoe, it's expensive or whatever, and they'll be like, look at this mark, how dare they? And they circle it, and it's like this freaking big. And I'm like, I get it, but at some point you have to just be like, am I going too far with this idea? Because the reason I bring this up is because some manufacturers said someone sent back a headphone because the packaging had an issue. Not the headphone, but the box was like, there's this thing I'm sending it back. I was like, whoa.
Well, we send our headphones overseas a lot too because, we've gotten a lot more worldwide traction, all that. And customs in a lot of places will open the whole head. And I've seen headphones that have gotten damaged by, because you know how you put the headphones in the case, you do the same way every time. So someone will send you a picture of like, this is how it looked when I opened it. And I'll be like, oh no, like customs went through.
You just go, Bevin!
Well, I mean, anybody who owns a ZMF already knows like the wood cases that we send are the seahorse cases. Those are really nice, but the cardboard boxes on the outer, like we don't have any branded packaging. None of our packaging has, little write-ups on it. I mean, it's all very straight from Uline. We pack it up. That's not where we're putting the product money. We're putting the product money into the quality
and
headphones.
and it can be very expensive. Packaging, design, it's expensive. People don't think about that when they think about the price of a lot of headphones, but it is.
Yeah, and I mean, with a Seahorse and S3 cases we use, they're expensive cases and they're waterproof, and we get, we basically just buy dome labels for them so we can put a little bit of our branding on them, and we have local furniture makers make our wood cases. I mean, we try to put the money where it's going to be most useful to the owner instead of just trying to make sure people can see a bunch of logos on a box or whatever.
Well, that also makes it more likely to be stolen, I think. So.
Well, on the outside for sure. That's what I was thinking. Like on the shipping box. Every time I get something on the front porch with it, I'm like, hey guys, let me just do a little outside on that, please.
I know our customers. I see guys have thanked me for not putting things. They said I brought this in, and my wife asked what it was, and I was just a case, or it's just because there's no branding on it, so the wife can never know about the expensive headphone. We just bought
devious headphone purchases.
Yeah.
Oh man, there's literally thousands of memes about blind too. Just like for the record guys and the 2-channel guys too. They're just like, oh yeah. There's one that's like I've just seen it so many times. It's something like my one worry in life is that my wife will sell my hi-fi system for the price I told her I paid for it. I'm like, it's done, guys. You don't have to do that one anymore. I've seen it enough.
Yeah, too easy to find stuff on the interwebs nowadays. But I sometimes I joke with people that I started a headphone business with a high impedance dynamics just so I could collect a bunch of tubes. Which
that actually sounds really true.
Yes, sometimes a male man will come and Bevin will be like, "Your tubes are here." It's just just any box that shows up. She like, you can see it's from
I know
Europe
the size,
or whatever.
the shape. I know exactly what it is.
Your GZ34 is here, Zach. It's a good one.
Do you have like are you really into tubes? Do you have like a favorite set?
Yes.
So you guys have a headphone amplifier, the pendant.
Yeah.
Oh man, look how good I am. I remember my stuff. And it allows for certain types of tubes. Have you, in your experimentation, found a really good supplier or a certain tube that you like, or what kind of just matches well with that guy?
I just like the vintage stuff. I mean, I'm all about the old Philips and Mullard and Amperex and Siemens and all the stuff made in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 40s even. I just think it's neat that this stuff, and it's almost, I mean, you find out what was this tube originally used for. Oh, it was in a fighter jet in this war. And it's just like, I don't know. It's just cool to me to think about like, this thing was not made for this purpose. It was made for some like part of history, but now it's used in audio. So I don't know. I just like that whole romanticized idea of what tubes can do or are.
Is there any kind of characteristic that you look for in a good tube? Like, what are you searching for as you're like swapping them out?
Just that people on HeadFi like it and will like me if they see that I have it. No, I mean I'm not an expert on
tube
vintage
collection
tubes,
will definitely make you cool. Forget the Ferrari. If you have old arcade tubes from World War II, that's the cool button.
Forget the Rolexes. Forget the alligator skin shoes. I've got that old Sittard Factory GZ34. I'm the cool guy. Yeah, I mean, typically I want to make sure they sound great with our headphones, stuff that has a really good transient response or is a little faster sounding and not too warm, because our headphones are usually just a little warm of neutral. Well,
so tell me about what your definition of warm is, because we've discussed this before, but it's curious because it differs from person to person or group or forum to forum. Warm, I think there's a general knowledge, how it is with fire, but audio, there's a little less definition around. What do you consider warm to sound like?
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, I think that because audio is so subjective, that I actually consider our headphones what my definition of closer to neutral would be, and I find a lot of headphones that typical audiophiles define as neutral to be bright. We have our audio precision measurement rig now, and I measure everything before I even listen to it, and either use a diffuse field curve or I just use no compensation at all, and find a lot of the headphones that I find bright that I have measured, I think they have accentuated treble, And so that's the thing, is there's no one definition. Everybody has different hearing characteristics, different anatomy, different impedances within their ear canals. And so if you really want to get down and define it, it's each person learning how to see graphs or figure out what subjectively is their own definition of neutral. So for me, when I say warm, I'm saying what I find most people to tell me how they think our headphones sound. Because to me, I tune our headphones just to what I think is my middle line, you know.
So, but warm is a positive characteristic, or not?
For me, with tubes, I guess the word I like to use is slightly euphonic.
Yeah.
Because warm, I think, can have more negative connotations in the audiophile landscape, where euphonic I think of as this airy, pleasurable. Diana Krall is singing right just for me. Yeah, Nora Jones came to my house and said, Zach, I want you to hear this song.
This one goes out to Zach.
Zach Attack, this is for you, baby doll.
Sit back.
You know, I've actually seen Diana Krall in concert, and my partner was there, and she was like, hey, why did it take so long in between singing parts? This is just like a long, super duper. Like, you hear her singing mostly in the demos, but in concert, there's this improvisation from the instruments. It's like 20 minutes in between, and she's like, "Are they gonna get back to the singing part anytime soon?"
How was she live? Good.
She's wonderful. You know, I don't mean to go too deep into this story, but she seemed kind of like a train wreck. And she's a wonderful performer, but she was like talking about how drunk she always gets. Like she was saying a story about how she gained a reputation as the drunk girl at the bar, this like jazz bar she used to go to. You know, she's married to Elvis Costello, and she performed really well. But I'm not saying that she wasn't like disheveled. She just kind of was really transparent in the way she presented herself as, I like to fucking party. We kind of talked about where you guys came from, what's been going on. What do you kind of look forward to the future? What is next for Zach Mehrbach?
I mean, I've just been really excited with what Bevin's been doing with organizing our new space. I mean, after going from an apartment to a house that you bought to expand the business, now we just basically bought a big open room, and we're hired an architect and a team to refurbish the entire thing, just make it our own custom headphone workshop. Bevin, you want to talk about that a little?
Sure. Yeah. So we have some friend who's an architect that we're working with, and we bought pretty much a vanilla box that needs a good deal of rehabbing, and just the ability to think through our processes and our needs, and like, how do we make ZMF the most efficient in this space? We want to be able to really invite the community and people in to come listen. So how do we make a cool and pleasant listening room?
Oh, no way. You're going to let outsiders in?
For sure. Yeah. We somebody last night was like, oh, you could put solar panels on the roof and have a like clean power listening station. I was like, what?
That's an interesting idea, like to clean up the part. No power conditioners in this line. It's straight from the sun.
From the sun.
It's the cleanest
to just
power.
make like a really cool, fun listening room where you can come by. And I know ZMFs aren't everywhere.
Yet.
They can be rather hard to seek out and find if you're interested in listening to them. So we definitely want to have a space where, you know, if you're able to get to Chicago, you can come visit us and
and it's going to allow us to do a lot more stuff. And, you know, I've always kind of pictured ZMF as being this kind of equivalent to a luthier making instruments. And I think one thing it allows us to do is I'd love to have some sort of custom shop where we can really accommodate future owners' requests. Because a lot of times people want stuff because that is really unique, and it'd be nice to make headphones that are unique for each person. So I could see ZMF having a dichotomy of production line stuff and some more custom shop stuff, which I don't know how that would look, but it would be really fun for me to create that if we're ever able to.
Yeah, sort of the inspiration that I'm getting right now, I'm looking at a lot of guitar shops and how they're set up. Like, our headphones were modeled after acoustic guitars, as a lot of people know. And so our whole future, I think, following those footsteps rather than just more like typical audio will be interesting in how we're building and how we're thinking about ZMF in the future.
Definitely dragged Bevin to Chicago Music Exchange or other well-known guitar shops in the area or in the U.S. I've always wanted to go to like Grun Guitars in Nashville, check out all their vintage instruments. So I think she sees how they present a lot of their stuff, and it'd just be great to have an area that kind of shows ZMF history of here's all these headphones we've made in limited editions, and here's the first gross-looking wood T50RP.
Do you have a box full of like old stuff that you like go in a glass case in the front? Or like this is the first one. This is the first one of this type. Do you have OOs? Did you keep the first run headphone out of every run?
I've got a lot of prototypes of like right before production started ones. I've kind of kept just kind of like I 3D printed this one out of this with like wood cups I machined myself, and it might look kind of gross because it was before production, but this was the first version of this headphone. Like, don't listen to it because it probably sounds weird. But
well, does it when you send them out? Does the first person who placed order get the serial number 0001?
Yeah. It'll.
That's how it goes.
It goes. We serial number how many we make per month now. So, but it does. You can go back and see which month it was made, and so it's not 0102, but it has a few more numbers, but.
I'm so obsessed with the idea for some reason. Like, I just want the first one. I mean, that's one thing if it's a nice run, but a custom piece too. Ooh, saucy.
000.
I just want a custom one made so it's a 0001 serial number on it.
Yeah, I do think that's
Bryan.
It's a cool idea. We don't make a lot of headphones. It's neat to know that you have something that's not everywhere.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any fun stories about like customer experience that was when they came to the booth or somebody that came in and listened and they had some type of reaction or some type of joyful experience that you beholden with your eyes?
Bevin was telling me that someone was
The lady who
crying at
cried,
our
yeah.
booth.
It was honestly like she apologized, and I was like, watching you cry was the most gratifying experience I have had around headphones. But yeah, she had come with her partner, and I think he was trying to sort of introduce her to hi-fi, and she sat at our booth, and I don't know what she was listening to, but she had her eyes closed, and then I saw that she was crying. And she opened her eyes and she apologized for crying. And I was obviously like, no, thank you for feeling our headphones and liking them. And she was like, yeah. And she looked at him and she was like, yeah, I get it. I get why you like this stuff. I've heard lots of people say, putting a good pair of headphones on someone and you watch them emote. Like people have shared that with me, not just with ZMF headphones, but like when you finally get to hi-fi.
I really like when someone I know is young and maybe either in high school or college or something orders our headphone and try to talk with them a bit. Looking back when I was younger, the purchases, our headphones are expensive and it's a big purchase. And at the same time, I really enjoy that they're getting the headphone and that they'll really it'll mean so much to them because they've put so much effort into attaining it.
Yeah, you actually just reminded me. I think you were probably talking about, we got an email from a mother who was like, hey, my son is graduating from high school and the only thing that he wanted was a ZMF headphone. She's like, I don't know anything about you guys, but this is what he wanted and he's been talking about it for months. So we worked with her. We're like, yeah, we're really excited about this. We sent him headphones and a little, congrats care package from ZMF. And then she took video of him opening the package and freaking out. And he had the headphones on and was drumming on his desk. And I think it was hidden camera video from mom and that was a really cool experience to see that unfold.
That's cool. It's a good story.
Yeah, I remember she emailed us and it was just just want to get a response to make sure you're a real business or something.
Yeah, she was like, these are pretty expensive. What's going on here?
That's a pretty nice mom, by the way. I was like, damn, nice, cool
mom.
Mom.
High school graduation gift, yeah. That was neat, though, yeah.
Just otherwise, this is $4,000. I just want to make sure this company's real and he's not just getting bamboozled.
Just send it to this, bank account number offshore.
I think can I propose a new tagline for you guys if you ever decide to go that route? Just like ZMF, gonna make you cry.
Just make a cartoon character, tears running down.
We do need a tagline.
Do you need a tagline?
We need a lot of things. We don't have some of those marketing things in place. So if you think of a good tagline, just send them our way.
Have you ever explored a dealer network, or is this going to be direct into perpetuity?
Well, right now we're kind of focusing on international dealers because we've realized in the United States that most people are used to buying stuff on the internet. And we try to go to a lot of United States shows. And one thing too about dealers is that if you go the distributor route, you'd have to bump the prices up more because more people have to get percentage and everything. So we've mostly kept dealer margins to allow international dealers to sell our stuff, and it really has helped get our brand well known around the world. I mean, we just started with a guy in New Zealand and Australia. We've got most of Southeast Asia covered, Japan, a lot of Europe. So it's really nice to work with the international dealers and get our product worldwide in a sense.
The audio market, a lot of manufacturers will say, my stuff is 77% of sales is from Japan or abroad. Where are you guys at right now? Is it just mostly U.S. sales still?
No, when I look at the numbers, it's I think it's about 60% U.S., 40% international, and you break it all down. So it's actually has it been shifting since the start, or has it always been consistent? Yeah, it's definitely shifted. Yeah, I mean, I think when we first started 5-6 years ago, it'd be more like 90-10 or 80-20, and getting dealers, international dealers, and because people it's expensive no matter what country you're in. So being able to hear it a little bit, because we've done the Singapore Can Jam, and we've done a couple times, and we've done the London show, but those are once a year. And so if somebody discovers us in between those shows and they want to hear something, a couple people will travel to one country, to Germany or Netherlands, to go to our dealer there, or go into London and try to hear them. And so it's just, they got to make a effort to do it, but at least there's a place they can hear them in those countries now.
That's cool. Well, anything you guys want to add on the way out here?
No, we appreciate you, Brian, and it's always fun talking to you, and looking forward to moving into our new space. And I'm excited what Bevin's gonna stir up for the design of new space. I'm sure it's gonna be exciting, and definitely in Chicago have to have some kind of grand opening so people can.
We're gonna saber a champagne bottle.
I've seen so many disaster videos of that exact thing over and over again.
Yeah.
Well, I would just say you guys are, I'm not too much into saying nice things about people, as you know. I'm just kidding. but you guys are one of the nicest kind of approachable people in the industry, and I've always appreciated your transparency and the kind of things you're doing. I guess I really appreciate the fact that you guys seem like there's an art to it as well. Like it's about the art of the artisanal creation of these things, and not just the money. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, thank you, but yeah, I think we try to put the vision and what we're endeavoring to accomplish first. We're getting materials and tinkering and putting things together and working with engineers, and everything else you kind of work out on the back end just to make it make sense. But for us, we don't have children. We have a cute little beagle dog, and this has been, our life's work to make great headphones. Hopefully people like them, and we really love it.
Yeah, and you have to sustain the business side to stick around. At the same time, there's plenty of opportunities we've had to do a mass market stuff, and just it's not what really interests me. I want to make something that people can hold and know the story and listen to it and feel that kind of romantic idea of craftsmanship in their hand.
Will ZMF ever make a $200, $300, $400, $500 headphone?
Maybe. I mean, if I can figure out how to make it the way I want to, but we're working now on stuff that's under $1,000. But to get it down to that thing, you got to make so many of them and make it a certain way that I hope we continue to grow and can make things that are as least expensive as possible, that hold to our quality standards. But I'm learning every day how to do that. So hopefully we can get there.
Thanks so much for coming on, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
you,
Brian.
Brian.